Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Teacher Lauren's class. This evening, we are going to revise what we have done last week, Wednesday. Let me remind us, those of us who are on the platform, that English language, we have divided it into 5 sections. Section 1 has to do with grammar. And as I said, it doesn't mean section 1, it can be section, it is just divided into 5 sections. Grammar, then you have spelling, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and creative writing. So we'll be looking at each section, as we go along. We are focusing now on the grammar aspect and on the creative writing aspect. Grammar, we have done on Monday. We do on Monday, grammar, and the creative writing aspect we'll do on Wednesday. For the creative writing section, we're starting with sentences. Because sentences, these are the foundations of writing, good writing. If you can make good sentences, then your writing would be more appreciated by readers. Your writing would create vivid pictures, and your writing would be smooth and would not be boring. So if you want to be a good writer, one of the things that you need to master is writing sentences, a variety of sentences. We're going to revise this evening some of the things we said the last class about sentence variation. Now, remember, the important part of a sentence that a sentence is a group of words that make sense. On their own, it can make sense. So if I say a sentence to you, you should be able to make sense. If I say, in the box, that doesn't make any sense. On the corridor, that doesn't make any sense. But if I said, Mary's walking on the corridor, that makes sense. So a sentence must make sense. It must begin with a capital letter. A capital letter is a big letter, the first letter in the sentence. It must be a capital letter. Another name for capital letters are upper cases, and for the smaller letters, we call them lower cases. So a sentence must begin with a capital letter, end with either a full stop, a question mark, or exclamation mark. So 3 kinds of end mark that you'll find with these sentences. Now we look at the different parts of the sentence, or sentences, parts of different sentences, or parts of sentences, and we say a sentence has 2 parts, the subject and the verb. We spoke about complete subject and complete verb predicate, meaning the brave man won the competition. The brave man won the competition. Now for the complete predicate, complete subject, the brave man. For the incomplete, the man. For the complete predicate, won the competition, and for the incomplete, it's just one. So it's just the main words you take out. So we say most sentences begin with the subject, in the middle you have the verb, and at the end you have the object. Marcia is playing with a ball. Marcia is playing with a ball. So you have the subject, you have the verb, the helping verb, and the main verb, playing with a ball. So you have the is playing, that's the helping verb, helping out the main verb, and the object, ball. Most sentences in English language are structured in this way: subject, verb, object. But we went on to say that if all of our sentences begin this way, then we will have problems in terms of monotonous. The sentence, after a while, the person who's reading, your reader, will become monotonous. And so, in order for your writing to be accepted, to be interesting, we have to use a variety of sentences. So last week and the week before, we looked at some sentence structure that we can use instead of this subject, verb, object. And the first one we looked at is how we can vary the beginning of the sentences. We could start, I ate dinner, I ate the dinner. We say that we could start with the time, verbs, adverb of time, adverb of place, adverb of manner. We could use a prepositional phrase before it, or we could use ing and ed, that's past participle, with them, so that they could sound better. For example, Marcia ate dinner. Could say last night, Marcia, last night, comma, Marcia ate her dinner, which consisted of chicken, rice and peas, and vegetables, maybe more than one. So we can add to the beginning of the sentence and we can add to the end of the sentence. They are still simple sentences, but we can expand them, we can make them longer, and we can by putting in more adjectives and the adverbs. Hanging on the wall, hanging on the wall is a beautiful picture of my grandmother, hanging. So we're starting with ing. We can use exhausted, comma, Milton fell on the couch, or slouched on the couch, and soon he was fast asleep. So we can vary the sentences by making them longer and putting in more words, more adjectives. Now today we are going to continue, or this evening rather, we're going to continue building better sentences. We actually looked at even some sentences that we could put more subjects and more jump, flip, and all those. We did that last week. Now today we're going to go on, same sentence building, and we're going to be looking at compound sentences. Compound sentences. All right? Compound sentences. A compound sentence joins two complete sentences that are closely related in. Compound sentences are joined by coordinating conjunction, and we can say fanboys. This is an acronym. The structure, you have independent clause, then comma, then coordinating conjunction, then independent clause. So, a compound sentence is a sentence that have two simple sentences, but they are about the same subject. They are about the same subject, and you can join them. Now, compound sentences help us to write longer sentences. Instead of having these short, choppy sentences, we can have longer, smoother sentences by using conjunctions. Now, two things we're going to be looking at. Conjunction, coordinating conjunction can join two simple sentences, as well as a semicolon. The semicolon can replace, if you don't want to, and this can add to the variety again, if you don't want to use the coordinating conjunctions with the comma, then you can use the semicolon. So let's go it again. A compound sentence joins two complete sentences that are closely related in meaning. Milton liked to play with Milton likes to play the piano. And his sister, if you want to put in Martha, likes to play the guitar. Now, both sentences can stand on the whole. Milton likes to play the piano. That's one sentence, full stop. His sister, Martha, this is a positive, so you put a comma. His sister, Martha, likes to play the guitar. That's another sentence. But you can join it with the word and. And the word and there is a coordinating conjunction. So some of the coordinating conjunctions, we call them fanboys. They stand for the F. What the F stands for. The A stands for and. The N stands for nor. B stands for but. O stands for or. Y stands for yet. And S stands for so. Fan boys. Fan for fan boys. Fan F for fan. Sorry, F for, A for and, N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. Those are 3 and 3, 6 and 1, 7 coordinating conjunctions that you can use to join simple sentences into one compound sentence. Each part can stand on its own, and that's what you call an independent clause. You have what is called independent clause and dependent clause. So these clauses, we'll look at them so that you can know the difference between a clause and a sentence, right? A clause can be a sentence, but a sentence cannot be a dependent clause. So we'll talk about the clause. We'll look at clauses sometime later on. So we're looking at the fanboys. These are coordinating conjunctions. You use them to join sentences, and that's what we're going to be doing now. Let's go it again so that you remember. A compound sentence joins two sentences that are closely related in meanings. So you cannot be talking about your homework on one side or your job on one side, and then you're talking about your hobby on another side. You cannot be talking about shopping in one sentence, and then you're talking about the banking in another. So they have to be the same, related. So a compound sentence must be related. So if you're talking about music, you cannot be talking about music and fishing. So music, you're talking about one person like music, then the other person like some part of music. So compound sentences must be related, share similar situation or information. So again, because I'm going to erase it, a compound sentence joins two complete sentences that are closely related in meanings. Compound sentences are joined by coordinating conjunction. Fanboys, and fanboys stand for, the F for, A for and, N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. Fanboys. We use that's an acronym. Then the structure: independent clause plus comma plus coordinating conjunction plus independent clause. All right? So we're going to have them again. Independent plus comma plus coordinate conjunction plus independent. All right, good. So I'm going to erase this from the board. Remember, fanboys, fan F for, A for and, N for nor, B for boys, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. So you use fanboys as an acronym to write compound sentences. Okay, so we're on compound sentences. And then remember that they must be related. Cannot be talking about a visit to the zoo and then you're talking about a hairstyle. It has to be two sentences that are related. Okay. And compound sentence can be formed with coordinating conjunctions or semicolon. And the semicolon, and whenever you see a semicolon in a sentence, it means that one of the coordinating conjunctions could replace it. One of the coordinating conjunction could replace it. All right. There we go. All right. I'm going to give you the two simple sentences. The rain started to fall. The children ran inside. Now, we're going to find one of these coordinating conjunctions that you think. So let me write it on the board. And see if we can find one of the coordinating conjunctions that we could use. The rain started to fall. That is one sentence. The next one, the children ran inside. So it's talking about the rain. Now, these are two simple sentences. We are going to join them with a coordinating conjunction. All right, so the rain. Now put a comma, remember? Independent. When I say independent clause, that means that it can stand on its own. It makes sense. If you hear dependent clause, it means it cannot stand on its own. It doesn't make sense. So dependent clause is a sentence that makes sense. The rain started to fall, so you put your comma, the children ran inside. So instead of having the short, choppy sentences, you can combine them. The rain started to fall, so the children ran inside. Ran inside their classroom. You can extend it if you want. So you have two sentences. So remember, independent clause or sentence. Then you have your comma, coordinating conjunctions, and we look at 7 coordinating conjunctions. 7 coordinating conjunction: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Let's go it again if I have them. For, and, nor, fan, but, or, yet, so. 7 coordinating conjunctions, and these 7 coordinating conjunctions will help you to form compound sentences. Compound sentences. All right. So we have the rain started to fall, so the children ran inside. All right, next, listen to this one now. Some example I'm going to be reading. So one of the coordinating conjunction will go right in the middle. Before you put the coordinating conjunction, remember to put your comma. So it's independent clause or sentence, comma, conjunction, coordinating conjunction, sentence. Go again, let's go again. To write a compound sentence, you have sentence, which is an independent clause. Then you have comma, comma. So you have the sentence, comma. Then you have the coordinating conjunction. And I said 7 of them you can choose from. Then you have another sentence or an independent clause for you to write a conjunction, a compound sentence. So if you have a compound sentence, you should look for those parts. Let me read some. The sun was hot, so we stayed in the shade. And so is the coordinating conjunction. The dog barked loudly, and the cat ran away. The dog barked loudly, one sentence. The cat ran away. We're putting them together as a compound sentence. We have the dog barked loudly, comma, then the coordinating conjunction, then another sentence, the cat ran away. Next one. I wanted to play outside, comma, but it began to rain. That's a compound sentence and full stop. Remember, your sentence must end with a full stop in these cases. You can read a book or you can watch a movie. So sentence or independent clause, you can read a book, comma, or you can watch a movie, full stop. Next one, she studied very hard, so she passed the test. Sentence, comma, coordinating conjunction, then another sentence. The baby was tired, comma, so he fell asleep. Baby was tired, comma, coordinating conjunction, so, then he fell asleep. So let's go it again. To write a compound sentence, you should have 4 parts. 4 parts. Independent sentence. The baby was tired. Then a comma. Then you're going to have your coordinating conjunction, so, and then you have another sentence. He fell asleep. And remember, a sentence must have a verb and a subject and a verb. All right, so we're going to look at these and see if we can turn them together in compound sentences. Why do you think we need to write all of these types of sentences? What's the purpose of writing all these different types of sentences? Because you want to express your ideas in a different way. You want to create a variety, not being boring, so that your writing can be interesting, so that others would want to read your writing. Because writing has to do with being able to paint pictures so that your audience it's as if they are in that story. So sentences, as I said before, these are the foundations of writing. If you're able to vary your sentence construction, some long, some short, some intermediate, some starting with action verb, some starting with adjectives, some starting with different phrases, then you'll be able to write better stories. Let's go with I'm going to give you the simple sentences, and remember I said 2 simple sentences. Then you have your comma in between and the coordinating conjunction. Look at this. The boy climbed, the boy climbed the tree. One, so full stop there. He picked a mango. He picked a mango. So you have two sentences. Instead of having these short sentences, grade 1 sentences, grade 2 sentences, you want to pitch your sentences a bit higher. And so we're going to use coordinating conjunctions to join them so that they can sound better, look better in your writing. The boy climbed the tree. He picked a mango. Now we want it to be a compound sentence. The boy climbed the tree, comma, and picked a mango. So you're combining two simple sentences. All right. Now let's listen to this one and tell me what you would put there. The dog was hungry. He ate a sandwich. The dog was hungry. He ate a sandwich. What coordinating conjunction would you put there? All right, if you say the boy was hungry, so he ate a sandwich, you are correct. Next one, I wanted to play football. Full stop, it started to rain. What coordinating conjunction would you put there? I wanted to play football, but it started to rain. So remember, 7 conjunctions, 7 coordinating conjunctions, and you can use the best one that makes the sentence make sense. The bell rang. Full stop, the student went to class. We could say the bell rang and the students went to class. She studied hard. Full stop, she passed the test. What coordinating conjunction could we put there? We could say she studied hard, so she passed the test. So if you have so, that's right. Next one, we can go to the park. That's one sentence. We can stay at home. So it could be, we can go to the park or we can stay at home. And you can have ice cream or you can have fruit cake. So, or is a coordinating conjunction joining 2 sentences there. Now, tell me the conjunction in these sentences. Tell me the conjunctions in these sentences. The baby cried and the mother picked him up. What's the coordinating conjunction in that sentence? The baby cried and the mother picked him up. And the dog was tired, so it lay down. What's the coordinating conjunction in that sentence? So. I wanted to help, but I did not know how. I wanted to help, but I did not know how. What's the coordinating conjunction in that sentence? But. You can walk to school, or we can take the bus. What's the coordinating conjunction? Or. The storm came suddenly, and the wind blew hard. What's the coordinating conjunction? And. So remember, you must have the sentence, the first sentence, dependent clause we call it, or the first sentence. Then you have your comma, then you have your conjunction and the other sentence. So remember, it has 4 parts. The sentence, comma, one of the coordinating conjunction and another sentence, and there you have your compound sentence. All right. Now we are going to look at another set. You are going to tell me the 2 sentences, 2 simple sentences. You are there. So you're going to work on it. 2 simple sentences. The boy opened the door and the dog ran outside. 2 simple sentences in that. So you would take out the and altogether. Take out, if you want 2 simple sentences and you don't want a compound sentence, take out the coordinating conjunction. So the boy opened the door, full stop. The dog ran away, full stop. And you, of course, you know you'd have to put a capital. Start the second sentence with a capital letter. Next one, the sun was bright, so we wore hats. If you want 2 simple sentences from that, the sun was bright, full stop. Take out the so, and the we now, the next sentence started with or begin it with a capital letter. We wore hats. So here I'm saying to you, you can have a compound sentence and you can change it back to 2 simple sentences if you want. And you can have 2 simple sentences and you can change it to a compound sentence if you want. She tried again, but she still made a mistake. 2 simple sentences from that compound sentence. She tried again, she tried again, she still made mistake. The next sentence, you'll have to put the capital letter. So let me write it on the board so that you can see this one. All right. The bell rang, and the students pack their bags. Now that's a compound sentence because I know it's a compound sentence because I remember to put your comma. I know it's a compound sentence because I see the comma. Some people leave it out, but it's English. You need to put it. Right? The bell rang. I see the comma and I see the coordinating conjunction, and so the bell rang and the students packed their bags. Now I want this now to be 2 simple sentences. Says 2 simple sentences. The bell rang. No comma. The students, so they would be pack their bags. All right. And you can make your own simple sentences. And Milton likes to take, Dad likes to take the bus to work. And Mom likes to take the train to work. All right, talking about Harry likes to climb trees, but Harry likes to climb the trees, and I like to swing on trees. One climb, one like to swing. Right? it was late, so we had to, or it was raining, so we had to seek shelter. So you can make some with all of these 7 coordinating conjunction. Let's go them again. Coordinating conjunction. Fan boys. Fan boys. The F stands for, the A stands for an, the N stands for nor, then you have boys, the B stands for but, then you have O stands for or, Y stands for yet, and S stands for so. Alright, so you can practice to make some. Alright, now instead of using the coordinate, the comma and the coordinating conjunction, we can use a semicolon. So let's do that. Same compound sentences, but we are going to be using semicolon this time. We're going to be using semicolon, but the same compound sentences. So you can, it's okay if you make one compound sentence and you put in the coordinate and the comma, and then you go down further in the sentence. So wait, I don't really want to use a coordinate here with a conjunction. I just want to use a semicolon. That's fine. All right, so we're going to use the semicolon now. Semicolons. And this is like a comma, where you have like a full stop at the top. So it has 2 parts. A comma with a full stop at the top. And it joins, same thing, it joins 2 simple sentences that are related. Alright? It's one of the punctuation marks inside punctuation mark. Right? The semicolon is not only used for this purpose, but for other purposes that we can talk about later. But the sentence has to be connected. Alright, so I'm going to write a sentence with the coordinating conjunction, and then I'm going to change it to the semicolon. The storm grew stronger. The storm grew stronger. The storm grew stronger, and the wind shook the tree. So I have my comma here. All right. So I have my comma here. So this is a compound sentence. The storm grew stronger, and the wind shook the trees. Now I'm going to write it now, a same compound sentence, but now I'm not going to write it with the coordinating conjunction. I'm going to write it with the semicolon. The storm grew stronger, in this case, in this case, you don't have to capitalize the next letter. You don't have to capitalize the next sentence. Just make it remain with the lowercase. So the storm grew stronger, semicolon. The wind The wind shook the trees. So, whenever you see a semicolon in a sentence, joining two sentences, you know that it is a compound sentence. So it doesn't matter, you can use the coordinate, the comma and the coordinate, or any coordinate you want to, any one of them, and, or the semicolon. So to make a compound sentence, you can do one of two things. One, you can use a comma and the coordinating conjunction, or you can use a semicolon. All right, let's just do a little more with the semicolon. Two sentences. The rain poured heavily. Semicolon. The street quickly flooded. The dog barked loudly. Semicolon. The stranger ran away. The baby was tired. Semicolon. She fell asleep. So remember, the sentence has to be about the same situation. The sun set behind the hills. The sky turned orange. Semicolon. The sun set behind the hills. Semicolon. The sky turned orange. The students study hard. Semicolon. The students study hard. They pass the test. The students study hard. Semicolon. They pass the test. The wind blows strongly. The trees sway back and forth. All right. So you can use instead of the comma and the conjunction, you can use the semicolon. All right. All right. All right, I'm going to give you a sentence. You decide where I should put the semicolon now. So I'm going to write 3 sentences on the board, and you are going to identify where you should put the semicolon. The sun rose. The birds began to sing. The sun rose, the birds began to sing. Find just a minute. The sun rose, the birds began to sing. Where would you put the semicolon? The sun rose, semicolon, the birds began to sing. If you had that, you're correct. Next one, because I could say the sun rose and the birds began to sing. That's 1. 2 now. The boy dropped the glass. The boy dropped the glass. It shattered on the floor. On the floor. Where should I put that? Semicolon now. The boy dropped the glass. It shattered on the floor. Where should I put the semicolon? The boy dropped the glass, semicolon, and it shattered on the floor. 3 now. Next one, the rain stopped. The rain stopped. The sky became clear. The rain stopped, semicolon, and the sky became clear. So if you're not sure where to put your semicolon, you can put in the coordinating conjunctions. The student finished the test. The teachers collected the papers. The student finished the test, so the teacher collected the papers. So you put your semicolon there. All right, I'm going to the last activity. All right. The last activity we're going to be working on is a little paragraph. It's a little paragraph now. And remember, if you want to be a good writer, write. If you want to be a good writer, write. Just write. And don't worry too much about the grammar. If you write it the correct way, just write. Eventually, you'll get it right. Writing is not so much about the grammar, it's about how you're able to express yourself in writing. All right? All right, the morning was bright and the birds sang happily in the trees. The morning and the birds sang happily in the trees. The children packed their bags and they walked to the park together. The children packed their bags and they walked to the park together. Some play football, but others sat under the trees and talked. Some played football and others sat under some played football, but others sat under the trees. Others sat under the trees and talked. A cool breeze blew across the field, A cool breeze across, a cool breeze blew across the field. So everyone felt comfortable and relaxed. The sun began to set and the children slowly returned home. The sun began to set and the children slowly returned home. All right. The sun, sorry, we'll read it, man. The sun, all right. They got something here again. The morning was bright and the birds sang happily in the trees. The morning, let me write that properly. The morning was bright. The morning was bright and the birds sang happily in the trees. So you have a coordinating conjunction there. So I could replace that with a semicolon. The morning was bright, semicolon, the birds sang happily in the trees. The children packed their bags and they walked to the park. So here again I have a comma and a coordinating conjunction. I could put a comma a semicolon right there. Some played football, but I still have another coordinating conjunction here, so I could replace it with a semicolon. Some played football, but others sat under the trees and talked. A cool breeze blew across the field. So here I have another coordinating conjunction, so I could replace it with a semicolon. A cool breeze blew across the field, so everyone felt comfortable and relaxed. The sun began to set, and so I have a coordinating conjunction there, and a comma, and the children slowly returned home. Let's read it one more time, and let's talk again one more time. We're looking at compound sentences, and we say compound sentences are two simple sentences joined together by a comma and a coordinating conjunction, or you can use a semicolon. So let's go again with this passage. The morning was bright and the birds sang happily in the trees. A coordinating conjunction is there, the comma and the coordinating conjunction, and so I could replace it with a semicolon. The children packed their bags and replace that with a semicolon, and they walked to the park together. Some children played football, but I could replace the but with a semicolon. Others sat under the tree and talked. A cool breeze blew across the field, so I could replace so with a semicolon. So everyone felt comfortable and relaxed. The sun began to set and slowly. But of course, we are not going to use all compound sentences in our paragraphs. We're not going to use all compound sentences in our essays. It's a variety. So when I say a variety, sorry, it means that you might have a paragraph, 12 sentences. You might have one compound sentence with a coordinating conjunction, or and maybe you can have another one with a semicolon. Then you can probably have a complex sentence, which we are going to be looking at. Then you can have one that begins with a time, an adverb of time. Then you can probably use one with a past participle. You can probably use another one starting with an adjective. You can use another starting with ing verbs. Running and jumping and skipping, Milton or Fedley. Somersault over the high pole. So we could have a variety of sentences. You can have some that are short. We saw a enormous giant ant. So we just using adjectives. So some sentence can be short and just short. And if you're using especially say interjection, run, jump, hands up. You can use short sentence, hit the point. So you can have some short sentences, some that are medium sentences or intermediate sentences, and you can have some longer sentences. So in your paragraph, in your essays, you're going to have a variety of sentences starting different ways. And so we're still on sentences, and we're going to spend a little time on sentences so that when you're writing, you can have a variety. In the meantime, look at how other people write. Look in magazines, look in storybooks, and see how they begin sentences. Look at how the sentences are structured. Practice them. So practice sentence writing, because remember, sentences is the foundation of good writing. Sentences are the foundation. Sentences are the foundation of good writing. And remember, you don't have to get it right all at once, but just keep writing. May I invite you once again to like, to subscribe, and to remember to tune in to Teacher Lauren's class, which is English for everyone. So if you're a foreign student, you're not a native speaker, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can benefit from this class because it's all about you. Remember, this is a copy, it's on Amazon, the Right Workbook. You can get a lot of practice from this book, and it will help you to become a better writer. Thank you. It is in the description. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you on Monday.